And those are the two prettiest girls in the whole world.
My visual memories of my life right after my sister died are really crisp and really clear.
In 2003, a 22-year-old college graduate disappeared after walking home from a party in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Within hours, her disappearance became a homicide investigation. What followed was a case marked by missed time, false leads, and a final resolution that came years later through DNA. This is the case of Katie Sepich. Who was Katie Sepich? Catherine J. Sepich, known as Katie, was the eldest of 3 siblings and was raised in Carlsbad, New Mexico. She had recently earned a business degree from New Mexico State University and was preparing to begin graduate school to pursue an MBA. At 22 years old, Katie was at a transitional point in her life. She was finishing school, working as a waitress, active in her sorority, and planning her future. At the time, Katie had been dating Joe Bischoff for approximately 8 months, and their relationship was under strain. Despite this uncertainty, they planned to spend Labor Day weekend together with friends, the night of the party. On the night of the disappearance, Katie, Joe, her housemate Tracy, and several friends went out drinking and visiting bars in Las Cruces. As bars closed, they moved to a neighborhood house party attended by an estimated 30 to 40 people. Security footage from earlier in the evening showed Katie and Joe holding hands and appearing calm. But later at the house party, multiple witnesses saw Joe kissing another woman. Katie confronted him, and the two argued. Many people described the argument as loud and alcohol-fueled. At approximately 3 a.m., Katie left the party alone. Katie lived only a few blocks from the party. However, when she left, she did not take her phone, purse, or keys. Those items were later found still inside her car, which remained parked outside the party location. Joe and another friend later took Katie's car and drove around looking for her. They passed her house and noticed the bedroom light was off. Assuming she was inside and asleep, they did not stop. Joe returned to the party and fell asleep in a chair. Katie did not return home that night. When the group woke up later that morning, Katie was still missing. Her car remained parked exactly where she had left it the night before, suggesting she had never driven anywhere. Knowing that Katie and Joe had argued at the party, Tracy questioned him about what had happened. At first, Joe denied that there had been any kind of fight and made no mention of the other woman seen with him that night. With no clear explanation, Tracy began calling friends and acquaintances, hoping someone had seen or heard from Katie. No one had. Eventually, Joe acknowledged that there had been an argument, but insisted that it ended there, suggesting that Katie may have left on her own to make a point. As concern grew, Tracy returned to the house and went straight to Katie's bedroom. Nothing appeared disturbed. Her belongings were still in place. Tracy's mother, who had been staying in the home overnight, also reported hearing nothing unusual. With no sign of Katie at home and no answers from friends, hospitals, and police stations were contacted, Katie had not been arrested, and she had not been admitted to any medical facility. At that point, with every immediate possibility exhausted, a missing person report was filed. Early signs near the house. As the search intensified, police arrived at Katie's residence and began examining the area behind the house. What they found raised immediate concern. One of Katie's sandals was lying on the ground. A rear window screen had been broken, and nearby gravel appeared disturbed, as though someone had been dragged across it. The body is discovered. While police were examining the area around Katie's home, another discovery had already been made earlier that same day. At approximately 11 a.m., a couple hunting in an old waste site east of Las Cruces came across a woman's body lying on the ground. The victim was partially clothed, and her legs had been deliberately positioned. Her shoulders and back showed signs of burning. Tire tracks near the body suggested that a larger vehicle had been used to transport and abandon her there. When Katie was reported missing just hours later, investigators connected the discovery to her disappearance. Autopsy findings. Tracy was asked to come to identify the body. When the body bag was opened, she immediately recognized that her friend was dead. The autopsy determined that Katie had been killed by strangulation. Investigators also found that a flammable liquid had been poured over her shoulders and back, and that she had been partially burned before the fire extinguished itself. Blood and DNA were found beneath Katie's fingernails, indicating that she fought back during the attack. There were no signs of a struggle at the dump site itself, leading investigators to conclude that Katie had been killed elsewhere and later transported to that location. Her watch and 2 rings were missing, suggesting that personal items had been taken. The boyfriend. Investigators returned to the party and interviewed everyone present, including Joe Bischoff. Joe stated that he loved Katie and had imagined marrying her. However, he did not initially disclose their argument or his interaction with another woman. Witnesses stated Joe had been in possession of Katie's phone, purse, and keys, and had made multiple calls to her phone that morning. Joe also refused to provide a DNA sample, becoming the only party attendee to do so. Within days of Katie's death, Joe left town. When asked to return for further questioning, he declined on the advice of an attorney, and the police could not compel cooperation without probable cause. Joe's absence from Katie's funeral further intensified suspicion. More than 1,000 people attended the service, yet Joe was not among them. As the investigation continued, forensic testing revealed Joe's DNA in Katie's bedroom. Investigators determined that the finding was consistent with their relationship and did not indicate involvement in her death. A similar case in Wisconsin. As the case stalled, investigators began looking beyond New Mexico for possible connections. 11 days before Katie's murder, a 25-year-old woman in Green Bay, Wisconsin, survived an attack that bore striking similarities. The victim survived and was able to provide detailed descriptions of her attackers. 2 suspects were later identified, arrested, and convicted. Despite the similarities between the 2 crimes, DNA testing confirmed that neither suspect was connected to Katie's murder. The break in the case. 9 weeks after Katie's murder, an incident occurred that would later prove critical. 2 female students placed a 911 call while hiding in a bathroom, reporting that a knife-wielding man had entered their apartment. Both women told police they had previously seen the man watching their building and looking into windows. The suspect, Gabriel Avila, was arrested. However, he was released on bail and fled to Mexico. In 2005, Avila was apprehended while attempting to re-enter the United States. He was convicted of aggravated burglary and sent to prison. While incarcerated, Avila was required to submit a DNA sample. That sample matched evidence from the murder of Katie Sepich. Investigators began re-examining Avila's history. Additional evidence soon followed. Tires from a truck he previously owned matched tire impressions found near Katie's body. One of Katie's missing rings was later recovered from his possession. Faced with the mounting evidence, Avila confessed. He stated that he encountered Katie by chance in the early morning hours while driving. According to his confession, he attacked her near her home, strangled her, and then transported her body before abandoning it. Conviction and sentencing. In May 2007, Gabriel Avila pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and evidence tampering. He was sentenced to 69 years in prison. He will be eligible for parole in 2043. Following the conclusion of the case, Katie's family turned their focus toward preventing similar crimes. At the time of Katie's murder, New Mexico law did not permit DNA collection from individuals arrested for felonies. DNA was collected only after conviction. Katie's mother, Diane, began advocating for reform. Her efforts led to the passage of Katie's Law, which requires DNA collection upon arrest for violent felony offenses. The law later expanded beyond New Mexico and contributed to the reopening and resolution of hundreds of cold cases nationwide. Katie Sepich's murder was solved years after her death, not through eyewitness testimony, but through DNA evidence. Her family's advocacy ensured that the investigation did not end with a single conviction, but led to lasting changes in how crimes are investigated. Katie's death was random, but the impact of her case was not.